Welcome to the Ivy Launchpad. Today we have Olivia Zhang, a junior at Harvard studying economics with a secondary in global health and health policy. She's originally from the DC area and founded Cancer Kids First, which is the largest youth-led nonprofit organization helping kids with cancer. And she has an upcoming book which will be released in early 2026 with BK and Penguin Random House. I thought we could talk first about you starting Cancer Kids First. Which happened, sophomore year of high school?
Yeah, so I founded it freshman year of high school when I was 14. My parents, they immigrated to the United States when they were 30. I stayed in a lot of different after-school care programs, and I got really close to my elementary school teacher. And she would basically take care of me every single day after school, even past the after-school care hours, because my mom worked late all the time, and then my dad was also working. So I got really close to her, and she basically raised me. And I also went to live in China for a few months, where my grandfather took care of me. They were just very formative people in my elementary and middle school years. They were diagnosed with cancer, I would say around 6th grade, and my grandfather was receiving chemotherapy in China, in a province that didn't have a lot of resources. And actually witnessing it happen to somebody that you love, seeing their changes was really, really difficult. And so I would spend every single day with him, drawing him artwork, trying to feed him, read him books. Over time, his cancer spread, and then he passed away. And then a couple months later, my elementary school teacher passed away from breast cancer. And just losing them was the hardest thing that I'd gone through at that time period. And I had also never experienced grief like that before. I just shut everybody out, and I think the only way that I essentially got myself out of that period, at this point I was 13, was trying to find some sort of purpose and meaning in their deaths, because I didn't understand how God or whoever you might believe in would take away two people who have only done amazing things, And my grandfather was also a teacher, and he cared a lot about his students and his kids and about me. Mm-hmm. So I think for me, a lot of purpose comes from work that I do. And at this time, I was still selling artwork to try to raise money. And I was also volunteering at different organizations, but I didn't feel like I was making a meaningful difference. And also, I saw a lot of gaps, I think, in healthcare access and treatment when I was in China with my grandfather, and that was something I wanted to address. And a nonprofit just at that time seemed to be the most holistic approach. So the first night, I pulled an all-nighter reading over 87 different articles on how to start an organization. So WikiHow was really helpful, and chat was not existent at this time. So I had to really source through every single website, I made a brain map, I guess, on 5 different pieces of paper. Name and logo, mission statement, programs, team structure, how I was gonna get everything off the ground in a sense. This is the other thing why I think youth-led organizations / startups are awesome, because you're in a unique position where you have so many people in close proximity, you know what I mean? So it's easy to mass mobilize, which is something I didn't realize at the time, but it's so, looking back, it's definitely a huge added bonus. So getting my swim team involved, getting my art class involved, my friends, and having them create cards for kids with cancer, working with because I had connections with elementary, middle school, high schools, so I could reach out to all those schools in my area and ask them for help. That was how we first did our first donation drives and first fundraisers. So that's kind of how we got started.
Now you have that kind of reputability, but in the very beginning, when you were just entering high school and you're I want to make something impactful, how did you get people on board, the first 50 people?
I think I had a lot of friends in different places in high school. And so I would literally, our first, 200 volunteers were just, all my friends, basically.
Oh, okay.
And then, I would say
200 is a lot. Wow. Yeah. When you asked them also, did you pitch it in a way that they are getting something out of it?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
You have to, just psychologically, you need to understand that, people do what's in the best interest for them.
Well, this is, a very young age to understand this psychologically, I feel like. Freshman year wouldn't have been able to,
I think,
manipulate people psychologically.
I think that from a young age, though, I always had a very business-oriented mindset. If I was going to do something, I'm going to do it to the best of my abilities, and it's going to be the best of the best, Otherwise, I don't take on a project. And I was like that from when I was really young. I think when I was younger, I mean, naturally, I don't know as much as I do now, but I like remember when I was drafting out like all these notes on like how I was gonna get people to be involved. Like I knew people wanted. I just thought about like what I would want. Like people want service hours. People want something to put on their resume, and they want like the promise of something like leadership position. So like that's like the deal that I made. Like I would say that this is an easy way to get volunteer hours. Like you're my friend, you should support me. But also this is an easy way to get volunteer hours. Like if you participate in XYZ number of opportunities, like I would consider you for the fundraising director position or, you know?
Yeah.
And I think the other thing is like you need to open leadership applications like the same time you're asking people to volunteer.
Okay.
So that's an incentive for them to want to join your organization, show that they're committed, and then you also have that incentive for them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So maybe I didn't understand the full principles of it, but like I knew that I had to like give them something in exchange for them.
Okay. Because I wasn't sure whether it started as a very small, like, oh, me and my 15 friends went and delivered the cards, or you went in just very strategically from the start and like opened leadership roles at the same time as asking your 200 friends.
It started very grassroots, but I knew that I had to tell everybody. That's the thing about if you start a nonprofit, especially at a young age, or a business, like you need to be so committed and believe in it so much because like you cannot be shy about like telling everybody about it, you know? Like I made it my entire personality and it still is my entire personality. But like I had two best friends in high school who also was like a part of it with me, and they like one of them was on the track team. Like I would have her like tell all her like track friends. One of them was on the softball team. Like I had her tell her softball friends, and like that's how we kind of spread it, you know. So it started off with like literally us three like in the school courtyard like during lunches like planning it out, and then we expanded to like getting our classmates, our teammates involved in our schools. And then I had a lot of friends again in like outside spaces, so I would ask them to spread it to their high schools. And we like spread through word of mouth for like the first few months through that way. And then I had this like email chain basically. And that's how I would like keep them updated on like weekly opportunities, you know?
Yeah.
And it was like very grassroots. Like every single elementary school in our area, that's where we like put boxes to like collect items. Like it was like our local companies that we like held bake sales at to do fundraisers. And that's like how we operated for like the first 6 months, I would say.
And then what changed?
Well, we actually got a lot of rejections from companies and hospitals because of our age.
Yeah.
And we didn't really know how to pitch. Like we didn't know any of that. Yeah. So me and my team, like we took like a 4-month break because I was just so like I had no motivation, like didn't think that I could do it anymore because we got so many rejections. I don't remember like the exact moment for when that changed. It was probably because I was reminded why we started in the first place, and also I refused to like just give up from that. This is when it came to like marketing and outreach. We created a pitch deck for our organization. We created like flyers, email blurbs, and I literally would email like every single elementary, middle school, high school in our area. My other two friends who are on our leadership team, like they called every single pediatric cancer center in our country, state by state, like 2 to 3 times each, until like we were able to solidify like partnerships with schools, with hospitals that way. And then with the schools, the purpose was to like get our flyer in the like elementary school kids had like take home Friday folders. Like we would go to the elementary schools and spend like 4 hours stuffing all the like 600 flyers into those like take home folders. Like for high schools and middle schools, like the college and career counselors would like put it on like the TVs or the newsletters, like send a blurb out to the parents, like and the whole like incentive was like this is an easy way to get volunteer hours and like help out like a local cause in a sense, you know? And that's how we like spread throughout Virginia. Okay. And then when the pandemic hit, that is when we started using like more online marketing tools and stuff like that.
Yeah. Okay. And I assume that's when you got into TikTok. But also, that's so interesting. I had never heard about this 4-month break and the fact that it wasn't just a completely linear growth.
I think we were trying so hard, but we like didn't know how to cold email efficiently. Like we didn't know how to advocate for ourselves and like why we were unique or why our story or organization mattered. And I think just stepping back and seeing it from a more outsider perspective, I feel like that reignited the passion.
Were
in
you
a
all on the
sense.
same page of, oh, we're going to take a step back in order to figure out how to make this grow more? Or was it like, it's not growing, like maybe we should stop? Or what? How did this break come about?
Okay, like I'm gonna be honest, my memory is very hazy because this was years ago. I just only remember how I felt.
Okay.
I can't necessarily speak for them,
Okay.
but I'm pretty sure at this time we were also like very busy with like school stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And naturally, like both of them are also athletes, so and this is also why they're not currently on our team anymore, because they prioritized a lot of their athlete commitments. And so I think we all agreed that we were like really busy and we weren't seeing progress. So we would all like focus on school and then maybe like come back to it.
Okay.
I think like that was kind of how it was.
Okay.
I just know that I personally felt like so unmotivated.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
nobody believed in it. Like there was
Yeah.
no point in trying to reach out to more people.
Yeah. When did you start TikTok? And was your TikTok initially related to Cancer Kids First, or you were just trying to build like a personal brand and maybe leverage it for Cancer Kids First?
The personal brand came way later, like when I started college. When the pandemic hit and I saw a lot of young people returning to TikTok, especially I think like, I don't think I was like smart enough to realize this at that time, but like looking back, it's also young people, like you're enclosed, like you have no hope, you don't have things to do. Like people look to social media for ways to like feel motivated again, like for things to do, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I think that was a really good time to get on TikTok and start promoting something like a nonprofit where you could volunteer and help other people, because it reminds you that like the life that you're living, like you're privileged to be able to worry about something like this versus like what kids with cancer are going through.
Yeah.
And also like you are given an activity that can like help you make a productive use of your time. So I thought that was like I saw like some other organization posted TikTok about like how people can get volunteer hours and like do something during the pandemic to like give back, and I was like, oh my god, this is like what Cancer Kids First should do. Yeah. So I like made this Google form application, like asked people in my high school who had previously gone viral to like start making posts for us, and then we like analyzed like best times to post, like best days, like understanding all the algorithms, like whatever, and then that's how like our TikTok team formed. And I know that TikTok, like, your first 5 videos matter the most. So, like, we plan out our first 5 videos.
Really?
Yes. Because TikTok wants to keep you on the For You page. I mean, keep you on the app. So, it'll boost new accounts. But if you start posting and, like, the For You page doesn't like you, like, TikTok won't boost you anymore.
Yeah. Okay.
But those first 5 videos matter because they want you to stay on the app. So, that's why we, like, really analyze, like, what other nonprofits were posting, like, what current trends were, so that our first 5 videos, like, we could capitalize on that in a sense.
Okay.
And then, like, they went viral, and we just accumulated, like, thousands of volunteers in, like, a couple weeks.
Wow. That's so cool. And then your personal brand came later.
Yeah, like, I didn't think I was going to do personal TikTok, I guess, and it was also very strategic, until, like, I got into college, into Harvard.
Okay.
And I was like...
Oh, was your Harvard acceptance video, like, your first video?
My first video, yeah.
That's a good first video.
Trust that. I know. Like, I did a lot of research. Well, first it was I started off on YouTube because that's what you always want to do. You want to post your college decision reaction video on YouTube and transfer over to TikTok. I was like, if you guys want to know my stats and extracurriculars, go follow me on TikTok, and, you know, that sweeps everybody
does it
over.
do better on YouTube usually?
College decision reaction video,
Yeah.
yes. Like, it's classic. Like, that's a
Oh.
classic, like, especially around application season. It was also, like, I have always wanted to be a YouTuber. Like, I love Emma Chamberlain. I like the lifestyle type of videos, you know?
Yeah, I love that too, yeah.
But I also, like, what I care about, and this stems a lot back to, like, my childhood, like, my values. Like, I have gone through a lot, and I struggled growing up with finding somebody who I felt like had similar life experiences and who inspired me to, like, motivated me to want to be better, and I want to be that for other people. So I knew I wanted to post content about how I'm a student at Harvard but also able to do my nonprofit work and, like, have fun, like, how to balance all of that, like, how to, like, essentially inspire and motivate people and share my life story. Yeah. So in order to do that, like, I had to go viral in some way related to, like, my career academic side. Yeah. And college decision reaction video, like, I filmed it because I knew that was, like, probably the key to leading to that. Hence why I filmed that. Like, luckily enough, I got into most schools, and so people obviously like seeing that. Yeah. And my mom had a terrific reaction. She's very emotional. So that, like, I didn't expect it to do as well as it did, but, like, I knew that, like, that college decision reaction, like, theme, that was going to be my key to if I wanted to do. And again, I was like, if I'm starting influencing, like, I'm hitting 100K. Like, otherwise I'm not doing it. Like, there's no point. Also, I think that viewers are very smart and they can tell when somebody's being authentic or not. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to be very authentic to my brand and also, like, really understand me personally, like, why do I care about social media? Like, why do I want people knowing about my work and viewing it? Mm-hmm. And by understanding that, like, then you can create better content and, like, that translates to viewers,
mm-hmm.
you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I agree with that. And I also can totally see the brand. I feel like you have very mature perspectives on life. And I am curious, so you said your parents both immigrated from China. What was their life like? And do you think that's one of the biggest impacts on the way you turned out?
No.
Oh, really?
I think I've done a lot of reflection on this. So, okay, to give background, like, both my parents grew up in really poor conditions. My mom, she was one of 5, and she was also the youngest. And in China, men are always, like, prioritized. So she was really neglected because she was the youngest, and the sibling directly above her was the boy. So her parents, like, poured everything into him. So she, like, never got new clothes, like, never was prioritized. Like, her parents don't know her birthday. She, I think, obviously, like, suffered a lot because of that. And because, like, they barely had any, like, money for, like, to feed their kids. Like, she knew very early on, like, the family that and the lifestyle she wanted for her children was going to be better than what she had for herself. And obviously both my parents saw, like, America as the promised land and, like, land of opportunities. My grandma doesn't know how to read or write, like, in Chinese or English, obviously. Most of my aunts, like, never graduated high school. Okay. And my mom was, like, the first in her family to go to college, and, like, a good college at that, and, like, be able to, like, immigrate to the U.S. and, like, get an amazing job and, like, have kids who now have the privilege that we do. My dad also grew up really poor. He didn't have as many siblings, so it was, like, easier to, like, get food, for instance. Mm-hmm. But he was, like, incredibly smart. Like, he was always, like, top of his class. Like, that's the reason why my parents immigrated to the U.S. was because my dad was accepted to Georgetown for his MBA. Like, he was, like, a genius, like, you know, okay. Very nerdy, as my mom likes to say. So they came to the U.S. I think that backstory, like,
how did they meet also?
I cannot tell you. My parents have told me this and I, like, forgot. Like, I didn't understand this, like, backstory or, like, how privileged my life is until, like, I was, like, a lot older. Like, I would say, like, high school maybe was the only time, like, I understood my parents' background and how that maybe have influenced me. So I wouldn't say that was, like, my drive for being the best at what I do, you know?
Okay, yeah, that's true. Because if they didn't raise you continually telling you, like,
yeah,
like, you don't know what we came from, then that wouldn't have been what motivated you.
Yeah. And so I've thought a lot about why I am the way I am, because I think that, like, people always ask me how I do everything that I do in a day, and I genuinely think that I am just more productive than other people, and it's, like, a learned mechanism because it's a coping mechanism to deal with things, which I eventually want to tell my story on, like, social media. Like, I want to write a book about it. Yeah. I went through a lot of trauma and abuse as a child. Only my best friends from home and Harvard know, and even them, like, I didn't tell them until this year, because for 18 years of my life, like, I thought it was completely normal, and I didn't think that anything was wrong with it, and I just, like, blocked it out. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't remember a lot from my childhood because of, like, my brain is protecting me from said memories, you know? And I've done a lot of, like, analysis with psych professors and psychiatrists about this, but 2025 for me was really important because it was the first year where I, like, really wanted to, like, reflect and think about. Also, low-key, when applying to colleges, that was so helpful in helping me understand, like, because you have to be able to explain, like, why do you care so much about service? Why do you care so much about leadership? Yeah. And it's because, like, what I've gone through, the only way that I survived was by distracting myself with work. Mm-hmm. it's why, like, at Harvard, like, I schedule everything because I get so anxious when I have a blank space and I can't, like, sit with my thoughts. Like, so that, like, started from age 5. Like, that was a learned mechanism. And so that's why I'm so productive today. I think essentially train myself, like, how to be, like, a machine when it comes to work. The only way that I could find self-worth and, again, like, survive was deriving my own self-worth by achieving things on my own. And so I was just, like, addicted to, like, setting goals in different areas that I could achieve and working to achieve them. I've realized that now, like, it's those circumstances that I went through that caused me to be the person I am today, which is manifested in an incredibly productive way. It has. And I've talked to a psych professor here, actually. His name is Charles Nelson, and he analyzes, like, trauma and early adversity and how that shapes childhood development. And there's a special subset of kids, depending on your temperament and your genetics, who are put in the situation that I was put in and are resilient and end up, like, where I am, for instance, rather than, like, homeless or doing drugs or, like, something like that.
Okay, I was going to say, is that what happens to the rest of them?
Yeah.
Okay, wow.
And it's just, like, this is, I guess, the coping mechanism that my brain and my body decided to develop, and it affects me in, like, this positive way, which has its own negative drawbacks, but whatever.
Positive for the world at large. You're the sacrificial lamb.
The point of all that is to say, I think that's why my work and my career matters so much to me. And I just, like, when I say that work brings me purpose, like, that is the only thing that got me through high school. I would say high school was, like, my worst or hardest years. And then now it's, like, the point where, like, I can't, like, I don't know how to live without it, you know? And that's why I prioritize it so much, and I care so much about it, and I'm really good at what I do. But it comes from, I guess, like, a negative circumstance.
Yeah. You say you're very work-driven, and that's, like, what brings you fulfillment in life, and also to have an impact. That's what inspired you to start Cancer Kids First, not just doing, like, busy work, but doing things that are actually impactful. And I know you're doing BCG after college, what do you hope to learn from that experience? Because I feel like for anyone who doesn't know you, you are the person who's willing to do what nobody else is doing and take just, like, your own path in life, whether it's starting TikTok or sacrificed a lot to just spend time committed to writing a book. You just do very untraditional, not traditional things. And BCG and consulting at large is a very traditional path out of Harvard. So I'm wondering what you're hoping to gain from that and where you see yourself going after that.
Yeah, this is a great question. I think it's wrong to assume that, like, just because somebody's in the nonprofit space or, like, claims to want to do good in the world, like, can't, like, do it from a for-profit avenue. You know what I mean?
Oh, I 100% agree.
Yeah, and I think
in fact, I think you can do more change by doing it through for-profit.
I agree. I think, unfortunately, especially given our current political administration, like, you can't change the world if you don't have money or power, and nobody's going to know who you are if you...
And that's not even just our current political administration.
I love to solve problems. I'm sure this also stems to my childhood, but I care a lot about, like, seeing a need, and if I have the skill sets and knowledge to address that, like, it's, like, my instinct to address that problem. And that is, like, what consulting is at its core.
Yeah.
I've done my entire life in the nonprofit sector, and again, my whole goal is to change the world. Like, I want to go down in history because I've made, like, such a big impact on the world, you know? And once again, you can't do that if you don't have the money or power, or at least the network to do so. And that's a huge reason why, like, coming to Harvard is strategic, I guess, for that.
Yeah.
Like, BCG, it's just, like, the network that you would get. There's no other job where you learn the most that you can in that short amount of time other than, like, consulting. Like, that's why consulting is such a, I guess, like, sought-after job post-grad. It's also, like, this would give me a chance to understand so many different for-profit industries. And so it's, like, cramming a bunch of knowledge that I didn't get to gain, like, by studying business, because, like, Harvard doesn't have undergrad business, or, like, because I've only done nonprofit work. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And eventually in the future, like I want to start a telehealth company to help patients in low-income countries, but I want it to be like for profit. So like hence why if I want to move towards for profit, like it's only natural that I do something like consulting where I can learn so much about the the for-profit world to eventually reach that point. My ideal plan is I'd work there for a couple years, like probably get my MBA, hopefully at Stanford, and like BCG would pay for that, so that would help a lot with my parents' financial situation. Then I would love to do like a startup then, like start my telehealth company. I know that like the company, like I would want it to use technology or AI in some way to ensure that kids with cancer in low and middle income countries get better access to treatment like knowledge and also actual treatment resources.
Okay.
So I've done a lot of like programs where I connect like US oncologists with oncologists in those areas, and the US oncologists like train those doctors through like virtual platforms, you know? So like that is really cool to me. There's already like companies who kind of do that, and I think with AI like there's more advancements that can be made in that area. So I feel like that's the area that I'm interested in exploring. I'm obviously like not gonna put a timeline on that, but like that's the eventual goal. And at the same time, I want to be serving on nonprofit boards, like writing books, like doing TikTok, doing social media. Like I see all those as like side projects, I guess.
Oh, 100%. No, they definitely are side projects. So you have a kind of a problem already. A lot of people here drop out as students to do startups, and often they're not necessarily like the most qualified person in the world to do it, but they still kind of just jump for it and roll with the punches, I guess, until they have either success or they move on to the next thing. Is there a reason you wouldn't want to just try right out of college?
I mean, I really encourage people, if they have an idea, they have something that they want to do, like I think life is short, like you should totally do it. So I am like all pro them doing that. I think for me personally, just the type of person I am, like once again, if I do something, like it's gonna be the best. Like if I start a company, it needs to be successful, you know what I mean? Like otherwise I'm not doing it. So if I start a company, like I want to make sure that I understand like the full scope of the issue. I also think it's like when it's something where you are supporting vulnerable populations and you're coming in from the outsider perspective, you need to do your due diligence and like accurately research the problem. Like you need to talk to the community and understand their needs. Like you can't just like go in with like the solution that you think is going to solve everything. So I think for also my specific idea, like that research and that education is needed.
Are you getting that education from consulting, or is that something you'll pursue on the side
while
while you're learning about for-profit?
I think honestly the classes I'm taking right now have been really helpful through Harvard. But they are a lot of theories. And then the nonprofit board work that I will do and consulting work that hopefully I'll get to do. I know I can't necessarily like, pick all projects, but I can like indicate my interest, you know?
Yeah.
I think that'll allow me to like try and apply those theories into the real world.
Okay.
And I just think that it's like, once again, like if I'm doing something, like I need to like put in, it's the same way with like how I did my nonprofit, how I did research for the book. Like I talked to people who had done it before. I like researched like what current founders were doing, like sat down and I had meals with current founders and or current authors, like student authors, like and understood like how they did everything. Because I think that's the only way that I can like ensure that I'm like equipping myself, you know, and like setting myself up for success.
Yeah.
So I also am not very spontaneous, as we know. So for that reason, I also would not.
We can close very broad. Who are your biggest inspirations?
Sophia Kiani is somebody I've always looked up to. I think she, like you saying, like me pursuing untraditional paths, non-traditional paths. She was the first person who I feel like introduced to me this whole world of like possibilities that I could do in the social impact space that I didn't know before. And she like doesn't, I mean, I'm sure she cares what people think, but she doesn't like let other people affect like, this is what I want to do, this is my goal, you know? And that is something I really admire. So I would say like she's always been like a lifelong like role model for me.
Yeah.
Like she's like who I want to be.
Yeah.
But I think like in general, my high school principal, I know I would not be where I am today without the support system that I have, and she was a really big part of that. And she gave me so many opportunities. Like, she made me realize like my worth and my potential as a leader, which I think also built my confidence to like do everything that I do now. She, for instance, like knew that I was really bad at public speaking, wanted to improve on that. Like, she would invite me to speak in front of like the entire school so that I could practice that. Like, she nominated me for so many awards, like so many scholarships, like which showed me that, I mean, it obviously would like give me money or give me recognition that would help with my work, but more importantly, like it showed me that there was somebody who believed in me.
Yeah.
And again, like when you are growing up being told that like you don't deserve to be on the planet, like having somebody like that, like
that's so important.
She just like shaped a lot of like my self-worth in myself. Oh, and also I was like the only woman on our student council, and I would like get spoken over, like just classic, you know, gender discrimination stuff. And she would always like notice and be the one to like encourage me to like speak my ideas, or like she would like implement my ideas and like let me do all the service oriented things that I want to do, even when nobody else on the council wanted to do it. And like, I don't know, I think just like, again, getting those opportunities to like be a leader in my high school and like have her support me, like that just meant a lot.
The Sophia Kiani example, the fact that she also did work in nonprofit space isn't something that you would look down upon, but it's contrarian against a lot of American ideals of, oh, you can work really hard and like earn your living and basically climb the socioeconomic ladder for yourself, instead of, oh, you can work really hard and like have a huge social impact. I feel like that's not what a lot of people talk about with the American dream.
Yeah.
And to have somebody, and then a lot of people will say like later in life, oh, I want to go back and like be philanthropic. I've like made it, now let me give back. But from such an early age to prioritize philanthropic work and then integrate like what you're doing being for profit and having an even greater impact like that, instead of just being driven by the same like, oh, let me build a comfortable life for myself that a lot of other people are. I feel like that's what's most contrarian about her story and your story.
Yeah. Wait, and I didn't tell my parents that I was doing Cancer Kids First the first 3 months because I didn't want to stress them out. Like, and even like for the first like 2 years, my mom did not like believe in it at all. And then like only when it was successful, she's like, yeah, like I encouraged her from the get-go. But like I think because both my parents are, and I know this is very cultural, like they're just very traditional. Like they wanted me to do like AMC, like whatever the math competition was, like do piano and violin, you know, like go the traditional like path. Like they wanted me to be a doctor or a lawyer. Sophia and I, we were, I feel like I should not be equating us on the same level. Okay, like there was like an impetus, you know, like to kickstart our nonprofit work, like the reason why we like veered off the traditional path. Even like aside from the nonprofit I started, like obviously that was largely because of my grandfather, an elementary school teacher. But I think also if I didn't have the whole like personality / like life mission, I wouldn't have started an organization. I could have just like kept volunteering or kept fundraising, you know what I mean? But I think it was like the combination of like having an impetus and then like a background for why like that kickstarted that.
Thank you so much for joining.
Bye.
Bye.